Welcome to the Body Talks podcast with me, Dr. Brook. I'm a chiropractor extraordinaire who speaks the language of the body, not to be confused with body language. Join me on this show as I disrupt current beliefs about where health comes from and how you can discover your greatest health potential without having to spend hours away from your life's work in order to do so. Because reaching these levels of health is possible once you learn how to carry on a dialogue with the greatest creation to ever exist, the human body. By tuning into the whispers your body speaks and addressing them, you avoid the potential damage that is created when the body begins to scream, allowing you to experience healing in a whole new way. This show will guide you towards true health so you can continue to change the world. Your body holds the answers. I'm here to help you discover them on the Body Talks podcast, starting now. Hello. Dr. Brook here, your podcast host for the Body Talks podcast. And in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about my personal experience with weight loss, what that looked like in me gaining a lot of weight, as well as losing a lot of weight, in hopes to inspire you and really allow you the space to stop resisting, stop fighting against your body, allowing your body to tell you exactly what it needs. I'm sure you're no stranger to all of the fad diets, to all of the crazy, insane workout routines, and, understand that, gyms are probably packed these days. And if they're not due to the health conditions that we're experiencing in the world today, there are a lot of people doing insane in-home workouts and harming their bodies, right? So before I begin, I just want to kind of remind any new listeners, any people that might have been listeners in the past, my philosophy of health. So my philosophy of health is the understanding that no one size fits all. Nothing. You can hear a health guru, you can even hear me talk to you about different protocols or different things, but that doesn't mean it's right for you. We really need to learn to tune in to the little voice inside of us and listen to what it has to say. Because honestly, that needs to be the guiding light. Because that is where you're going to find true answers. That's where you're going to find all of the information that you need. And guess what? In return, it stops all the frustration you feel about things, right? Weight loss is just one component to that frustration. But sometimes we feel frustration about a lot of things. We didn't get a promotion. We didn't get that car we wanted. We didn't get the house that we put the offer in on. And there's so much frustration and so much resisting and pushing up against a wall, like we're banging our heads up against a wall, trying to make things work. That deep down inside, our body is like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to do that. Or, hey, this would actually be a better route for us to take, right? So we talk about, there's a lot of people that talk about the universal laws of manifestation and really putting the energy out to what you want to, receive and get in life, law of attraction. But there's also, that's all great. There's a lot of great information and a lot of things to glean from that. But there's also this sense that we sometimes forget about, and that's our internal sense, our internal guiding system, the being inside of us that resides within, that has all of the wisdom that we're looking for. Because it's good to get information from people like me and other people on the outside, medical gurus and fitness gurus and whatnot when it comes to your weight loss journey. But I just want to really instill this understanding that it ultimately comes back to you. I'm going to be sharing with you my personal story of being overweight, getting to a healthy weight, going back to being overweight, to now getting back into a healthy weight again. And that yo-yo effect, right? We see that so much. People lose weight, gain weight, lose weight, gain weight, and they're constantly in this cycle. And they're like, I can't eat that, or I can't have this, or, calorie restricting, or, depriving their brain, you guys, brain, if you're watching this on YouTube, your brain, you're depriving your brain of precious nutrients that it needs to fuel you throughout the day. So our minds our minds get caught up in this process, like, I'm not skinny enough, or I don't look as well as I want to look in my skin. And I get it. I get it. I am human and I feel those same ways. I am not by any chance saying I am above that. I'm better than that. You just have to look in the mirror and love yourself every single day. No, I get it. But what you need to do is understand that sometimes your mind, your conscious mind, is literally flipping through certain programming that it's had for all these years, looking in all these magazines or seeing different things and wishing you looked different or wishing you looked a different way. Would you ever consider going to a zoo or seeing wildlife in the wild and looking at an elephant or a zebra or a giraffe and say, well, why doesn't that giraffe look like an elephant? Why doesn't that flamingo fly like an eagle? What is that ostrich doing with its head in the sand? No, we go to the zoo and we get to see all these animals, or we go into wildlife and we get to see all these animals, and we never, ever look at it and go, well, why isn't it this? Yet with ourselves, with our humans, the other humans around us, we look at them and go, oh, their nose is too big. Oh, they got too much on their behind. Oh, they got this or they got that, and we're constantly judging. Why aren't they this? They're not that because they're not that. They're them. You are you and I am me. Now, it's okay to want to get to a healthy weight. It's okay to want to feel a certain way in our skin. But part of that process, and what I've learned through this entire journey, is that process actually begins by tuning into the wisdom inside of you, by looking deep inside your eyes. When you stare at yourself in the mirror, maybe you're not completely pleased with how it looks, but when you look yourself in the mirror, you can truly say, I love you. I love you. I know that you're doing the work necessary to house this soul that is within me. You're constantly, filtering out toxins from the blood. You're building up hormones. You're helping my heartbeat. You're doing all of these things. If we stop and think about all of the things that the body is doing on a second basis, on a second by second basis, it is literally doing so many things, building up proteins, all kinds of things, right? Breaking down sugars, processing hormones. I mentioned that earlier, but you have to understand it is doing so much. And to look yourself in the mirror and say thank you, to show some gratitude for that, the fact that that immune system is protecting you against whatever pathogen you might be exposed to, whether it is a virus, whether bacteria, a parasite, whatever, it is constantly working hard for you. Look yourself in the mirror every single morning and say, thank you. Thank you, body, for doing what you're doing. Thank you for taking care of me. How can I support you? This is such a major, major shift in how we approach things, because with fitness, with losing weight, with doing all of these different protocols, we never tune into that voice inside. We never ask the body, is this a workout that is actually going to be benefiting you? Or am I going to be causing you more harm? Am I going to be causing you more hurt and more pain in doing this? In taking these supplements and eating this food, am I going to be causing more harm to you? Think about these things as I share this story. So early on, I in my life, I don't know that I've ever struggled with weight issues. pretty fit, always outdoors, riding bikes, doing things, eating junk food. That's what I grew up eating, junk food. Um, but I never really had a problem with my weight. I was active and grew up, and I was like, okay, I'm this size, just for reference point. I think through high school, I was pretty thin, and then after high school, I put on some pounds. I went from probably a size 2 up to a size 7, 8. I'm a 5'2", 5'2" woman. So if that puts it in any perspective, but 5'2", so I went up to a size 8, and I was okay with that. Like, I don't know that I ever kind of fought myself weight wise at that point. I was just like, okay, like this is me. Like, I didn't at that time even really remember me thinner at the like in my during my high school days. It was just like, okay, um, I was on birth control. I like thought, okay, well, I'm retaining a lot of water from this. It is what it is. And that was it. I wasn't really sitting there trying to lose weight, or I wasn't really straining to lose weight. None of that. And so, that was just me. I was unconscious about it. And I was working a job. This was a couple years after that. I probably was in the 135 range, at that size 8 for a good 5, 6 years probably. And I started working a job, which then led into working a second job. And when I started working that second job, I recognized that my body was undergoing a lot of stress, right? So I was going from one job to the next, and constantly just in flow, right, in my day, where I don't know that I was even remembering to eat. It wasn't that I was consciously aware, like, I need to drop these pounds, but I just wasn't eating. And so I remember coming into my first job, or my job number one day, and somebody asked me, one of my coworkers, "Are you losing weight?" I was like, "Really? No, not that I'm aware of, but my pants were feeling a lot less." And then I started kind of putting pieces together. I recognized, oh, okay, yeah, there might be a component where it is coming off because I'm eating smaller meals and I'm eating less meals per day. But again, this wasn't any way, shape, or form, like a healthy way. Like, being stressed, in this case, high levels of stress for me caused me not to eat. Other people want to eat a lot of food when they're stressed. I get it. And we're all different, right? Elephants and giraffes, never the same. So I would, continue these two jobs until the point that that first job I was done with, and I transitioned fully into the second job. And so I was working that job for many, many years, had lost a lot of weight, had gone down to like 115 pounds. So 20 pounds or so back down. So I'm like down to 115 pounds, and I'm there, and that's my normal. That's what became normal for me. So working the job, get pregnant with my daughter, put on an extra at that point, like 20, yikes. I think I was close to, I put on almost 30 pounds. So I gained 28 pounds when I was pregnant with her. And within 3 months was back down to the 115. So before anybody throws any hate about that, because I know women can get so spiteful of other women, especially when it's like they're struggling really hard to drop the last few pounds of baby, and whatnot. Like, it can be easily misconstrued to think, oh, well, she has it easy. I am here today to tell you that it is by far not the easiest thing. And to sit there and judge somebody, whether they lost the pounds quicker or they're taking a little bit longer to lose them, is not right. It's looking at an elephant and a giraffe, expecting an elephant to be a giraffe or a giraffe to be an elephant. There is no comparison there. We are all on our own unique, special journeys. That is what we need to keep in mind. Okay. So, lost the weight really fast, back to the 115, basically nursing my daughter. She's growing up, still pretty much living around that um, LB rate, right? Or like pounds per se. Um, and then I go to chiropractic school. Okay. So chiropractic school, my daughter was about 4 years old when I left to chiropractic school. So was again toddling around that range for a good while. And I go to chiropractic school. And for like the first year of chiropractic school, everything was fine. I was the same weight. I still ate the same, not junk food, but I was eating a lot more healthier. Like during my pregnancy and after I had my child, I was not eating all the junk food, um, eating way better. And I kind of got this idea in my mind. And this is me being brutally vulnerable with you guys, but I had this idea in my mind that I'm going to be 115 regardless. And it doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter what happens in my life. This is me. This is what God gave me. I'm going to be 115. You know, I don't even care. I don't need to work out. I don't need to do nothing. I wasn't doing a lot of working out. I wasn't doing a lot of exercise. I wasn't doing any of that. Like I was active, but by far not active like to the people that are in the gym for hours a day, or constantly like setting these weight goals and doing these at-home workouts. I was not at all. And I just thought, yeah, I'm going to be 115. No big deal. Chiropractic school, guys. Chiropractic school. Probably about the first year in, everything was fine. Moved like a couple times during that, or moved twice during that first year. Moved into a place, was really content, happy. And I don't know what happened. Like I just had this idea that I was never going to be overweight. Like I was never going to be overweight. This is just me. And, stress, didn't hardly eat, but then would be drinking massive amounts of coffee. And by coffee, I'm not talking about coffee with some almond milk like I do now. I'm talking about like caramel macchiatos and, this and that and flavor and chocolate and syrups and all of it. That was me. And this was me in chiropractic school after that first year, just totally sugar fiend. And I remember, like I'm admitting to you honestly, like there are moments in my life that I know I'm going into a sugar pit, I call it, like where it is all I want. I'm craving sugar, Skittles. Skittles are my nemesis. Airheads are my nemesis. I cannot purchase those things anymore. Although, in all honesty, I recently had some Skittles at a movie theater. My boyfriend was a little bit like, "What? You're asking for Skittles? I never even knew this about you." But yeah, like being a person who's dairy free, gluten free, I end up going for all of those fruity type candies for sweets because I can't do like a Snickers, milk chocolate, or any of that kind of stuff. Of course, I do dark chocolate too, but it's not something you can get out and about at different places like movie theaters and whatnot. So I just started eating tons of sugar. I don't know what possessed me or got into me. And so I didn't notice it. I did not even notice it. I was so in a fog. How many times have you consciously even noticed some of your eating habits or consciously noticed even some of your behaviors because you're in a fog, a cycle of tons and tons of fog in your life, right? Where you're just moving through your day, not even considering what you're doing. That's a whole nother piece that we'll get into. But for now, in order to continue the story, I just want you to understand it's okay to be in a fog as long as you pull yourself back out of it. So I was operating in this fog, constantly just making bad choices, going to school, eating sugar, having all this coffee, eating organic and healthy, great, but that didn't really help me out because it was just one was offsetting the other. Until one day I'm like, gosh, like these pants aren't buttoning up like they used to. Oh goodness, okay, all right. That was like the first thing. And then it continued and it continued and it continued. And I was so bloated. My gut was so bloated. I was now pushing 137 pounds. 137 pounds. And I'm like, holy flipping A, what did I just do to myself? And I was so angry and I was so upset and I was so bitter. And it's easy to talk about it now because I'm on the other side of it. But I'm telling you guys, like, I was very upset and I hated how I looked. And I was like doing all these things. I literally, for an entire 18 months, for actually even longer. So it was during the second year of chiropractic school that the weight started coming on. Probably about third year, I was like, I need to effing change this. This is not good. And I'm now 2 years out of chiropractic school. So if that gives you any reference of time, um, it's been the last 3 years of me battling, trying to get down to this 115 because I thought that I would never have any issues getting there because I always, would go up 2 pounds and then back down to maybe, 2 pounds past the 115. But I always kind of stayed midline around the 115. And I thought it was like invincible. I thought I was like immune, that nothing, was going to happen to me, that I was just going to be able to put anything and everything in my mouth and it would like not make a difference in my weight. But guess what? That mentality like screwed me over big time because I feel, looking back on it now, my body was like, oh yeah? Oh yeah, you really think that you're going to do this to me? Watch how I respond. Watch how I respond to you. And it didn't respond pleasantly, like at all. And so I did so much. I was so neurotic. I would get up early. I would go to our school gym. I'd be like working out. I'd be getting in the sun. I'd be doing all this stuff, sweating it out. I'd be like, oh, we're doing this, 100-day fitness challenge or the 80-day fitness challenge or 90-day eating plans. And like, oh my God, I remember, guys, going on a trip. Like, we were going out to a seminar with a group of chiropractic students and we were all having a great time. We went and stopped at In-N-Out. We did all these different things. But because I was on that 90-day eating plan, neurotically trying to get my weight down, I literally did not eat anything that they ate. I went to other restaurants, ordered water, did all these things, brought my own food because I spent all this time making all of these meals, all of this crazy work, all of these meals to literally like eat while they were eating their food. And I get like, okay, great. There was merit to that. There was a lot of good benefits to, having my own meals as opposed to like grabbing like a protein style, animal style, double meat burger at In-N-Out. Great. I mean, that is something, that I do enjoy, but limit. But anyways, so I was doing all this stuff. And I would see very small incremental changes, very small. I was listening, counting calories, doing these workouts, like getting up at like 4:30 in the morning, all of this stuff, and barely any change. I completely understand when patients come to me in the office now, or patients come to me via telehealth and they're like, I'm struggling with my weight. I'm doing all this stuff. I don't know what's happening. Nothing's happening. And I get why they get discouraged and I get why they get frustrated. And guess what I do? My own personal experience, I share with them and I turn it back on them and I say, look, are you cultivating a relationship with yourself, with your body in a way that it's gonna be receptive to what you want it to do? I mean, think about it. The way you cultivate a relationship with your significant other or your kids or your family or whoever is in your life, your coworkers, the same way you cultivate a relationship with them, you're not shoving stuff down their throat or putting stuff in their awareness or in their face and going, you need to do it this way. You need to do it this way. How many friends or how many people or how many relationships are you going to have as a result of doing that behavior? I'd challenge, or I'd liken to think that it would probably be close to zero. When we begin to look at our body as something and someone like an entity to cultivate a relationship with, we then begin to turn around and go, how can I support you better? How can I help you do what you do best? And how can I support you in that process? Instead of telling the body, I'm depriving you of nutrients because we're not eating, because we're not skinny enough, because you're not doing X, Y, and Z. When in reality, a lot of what happened to the body, a lot of the reason why it's either putting on weight or acting the way that it is as a protective mechanism. You know, people don't understand sometimes weight, a lot of times, actually has to deal with toxicity. So if you have toxins floating around in your body, fat cells are going to absorb water, hold on to fluid as a way of diluting those toxins. Yet we want to sit here and run on the treadmill for 45 minutes and do these crazy workouts that are like straining our shoulder and hurting our knee and all sorts of problems because we feel like our bellies aren't where they want, or we have a little flabby in our arms. Okay? Like no. I started to really, I was fighting, I was resisting, I was pushing my head up against a wall. I was like yelling at myself, get this together. You just need to stop eating carbs. You need to stop eating bananas and no rice for you and none of this. And like literally pulling all of this stuff out of the equation because I was so angry and so upset. And I tried keto and I tried this and nothing was working and I never got relief. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna surrender. I'm going to surrender, completely surrender. And I'm going to allow the process of what my body is seeking to do the work that it's been designed to do. So I set on this journey with my doctor, the doctor that I work with one-on-one. He is my physician, Dr. Keith Roberts. He has taught me so much about the work of allowing the body to do the talking. But he's my physician. So when I have health problems, when I'm dealing with health concerns, he's the one I go to. I don't seek out any other advice. I don't look at any other guru. I don't listen to anything else. Dr. Keith Roberts, taps into my body, has a conversation with it, and we move through the process. This is something that I've developed with my own body as well. But it's interesting sometimes me working as a physician on my own system. Sometimes I feel like the energy gets blocked a little bit because maybe my body is being a little bit protective, whereas like he's able to get a little bit more information out. So with that being said, I was working with Dr. Roberts. We were working through a SIBO issue, small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. I had a lot of like a gut dysbiosis issue happening. I had like a biofilm. I had, old infections that were getting housed in my gut that were causing all sorts of problems. So here we were uncovering layer by layer, unraveling the piece of all of this, right? Dealing with all of this. And then I, started the work of, okay, what kind of workouts do you want to do? Okay, we're going to do a mile walk, like not a strenuous mile walk, but not something super easy, something with hills and valleys and back and forth. So we're going to do a mile walk. And then every other day, we're going to incorporate maybe 15-minute at-home workout, resistant bands, things, body weight exercises, things that help, strengthen the muscle, strengthen the core, get the body going. And that was actually, my body was responding so well to that because I tuned in and I asked her, what do you need in terms of, okay, Dr. Keith Roberts is doing this. How can you support the work that he's doing? What can you do? What can you do, Dr. Brook, to support your own system that Dr. Keith Roberts is helping uncover for you? So I did everything. I've followed protocol. I've, tuned into my own body. I've listened. I've had that relationship with her. I still have that relationship with her. This is the things that I teach my patients, having the relationship with yourself, looking at your body as a separate entity, like the best friend, the homegirl, the homeboy in the room with you. That's constantly there telling you things so much wiser than you even imagine. And so through this entire process, it is the most incredible thing because no longer The moment I stopped resisting, the moment I stopped banging my head up against the door or the wall and saying, WTF, is the moment that the layers started shedding off. And I am back to that weight that I thought that I would never be able to leave. And I'm back at that weight with an entirely different understanding of my body, an entirely different understanding of the entire journey as it is in losing weight. Sure, cutting calories and doing exercises and eating well and taking supplements are great. But are you doing what is necessary that your body is seeking instead of throwing our own ideas and our own philosophies into the equation? Because when we throw our own ideas and our own philosophies into the equation, we may not even uncover what the body actually truly needs. Because before I could actually physically start dropping pounds, I had to clear the SIBO. I had to get all of the gut dysbiosis cleared up. I had to deal with a parasitic infection. I know that sounds gross, but I had to deal with one of those. I had to deal with old viruses and clean up all these biofilms going on. There was so many other components than just counting calories and running on the treadmill or doing all these insane, hurtful exercises that aren't helpful for the joints. I'm not going to sit here and tell you this workout is better than others, but what is right for you is right for you. And you really need to tune in and listen to that. So I hope this story really encourages you to really tune in, really have a deep, deep relationship with yourself. Make it a point every single morning. I don't care what your body looks like. I don't care if you're housing 50 extra pounds on it or 100 or 10 or 5, or you want to house more pounds on it because you don't feel as strong as you should be. I don't care what it looks like. Stop making it an elephant. Stop trying to make it a giraffe. Be you and look yourself in the face every single morning and tell your body, I love you. Thank you for taking care of me. And I will do my best to truly listen to what you have to say and give you exactly what it is you need. If you'd like any help in getting those answers, getting deeper into that wisdom like Keith Roberts did for me, and really uncovering all of these extra layers that might be holding you back from achieving the goals that you want to achieve when it comes to your weight loss or weight gain, reach out to me. I would love to help guide you on this journey. All of the information will be in the links below. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. This is how you stay in touch with my podcast. And if you're watching or if you're listening on the podcast platforms, be sure to subscribe. Rating and reviewing the podcast is greatly appreciated, and it helps get this out to more people. Thank you so much for your time. And again, this is Dr. Brook, your guide in really tuning in to the voice that your body speaks. Till next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Body Talks podcast with me, Dr. Brook Sheehan, where you're learning to pay close attention to the whispers your body is speaking so you can live a life fully expressed physically, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally without spending time and money on healthy items that aren't right for you. You're uniquely made, and your healthcare needs should reflect that. To learn more or how you can work with me, visit drbrooksheehan.com. That's Brook without an E, and discover your answers today.